Happy 2026, everyone. Welcome to my first video in what is going to be a series of videos throughout the year documenting my approach and hopefully successful outcome of a second vitrectomy for floaters on my right eye for some recurring floaters that I've had and new ones that I have developed since my first surgery. I'm going to hopefully in real time, describe my success in being able to meet with and hopefully get one to agree to perform, retinal surgeons, and get one to agree to perform this procedure. And then ultimately after that, if it happens, the outcome and overall health of my eye post that surgery to give a better understanding of just how safe and effective this might be as a repeat procedure. I want to start out this video with three topics. First one is you're in luck. And what I mean by that is that if you're a floater sufferer, maybe you're just seeing my videos for the first time, maybe you've just noticed your floaters for the first time, I just want to give you some optimism that there is hope for you out there in a way that there didn't used to be. I've been suffering from floaters for almost 20 years. I had my first vitrectomy done 8 years ago, and on my left eye, and then I had the next one done on my right eye 3 years after that. For the first 10-ish years that I suffered from floaters, there was not a single doctor I could meet with or very much information on the internet to give me any help that gave me any confidence that this is something I was going to be able to resolve in my lifetime. This was not a procedure that was widely practiced. It was not something that most ophthalmologists or retinal specialists would recommend or be willing to entertain. And today I've noticed a marked changing in that landscape. Not that it's become common and not that it's going to be easy for you as you embark on this journey, but there are many more surgeons willing and able to at least discuss this as an option and basically put this out there on the internet on their website saying this is something I do, this is something I'm willing to talk to you about. It's reserved for severe cases, but it is a procedure I offer. And I know that just from Googling. I mean, I go on the internet, I'm like, wow, there's a couple dozen doctors I could find that do this. I'm not saying that they would necessarily do it for you or for me. They've got to meet with you. They've got to decide you're the right candidate. This is something they're probably only going to perform on a small percentage of people, but it's something that they're not going to chastise you about. They're not going to automatically rule out right away. Hopefully, if you build up a relationship with them, which is going to take me to number two, the approach for this surgery, they may be willing to consider you as a candidate and ultimately perform that surgery. And this is something that I've noticed has changed in a big way over the last 2 decades. Number two is the approach. What I erred in, but partly it was my mistake, but also partly I don't think it would have made a difference, like I said 2 decades ago, that I would have really had much luck getting the surgery done anyway. But I really struggled with these eye floaters. There wasn't a lot of information out on the internet. I didn't know really anything about a vitrectomy, and I would meet with a variety of retinal specialists and ophthalmologists around the country. I moved a lot, but I would also travel to meet with them to see what could be done. And they would all rule me out as a candidate immediately and tell me that that was the end of it. There's nothing I could do, and to just learn to live with it was the common expression. I don't think that's the right approach in the sense that I was hunting and fishing for the right doctor or really just any doctor. Can you do this for me? And even in today's environment, that's not the approach I would recommend. I would not suggest going around the country, meeting with different specialists one time, seeing if they'll do it, and if not, moving on to the next one. The approach that I'm going to take this year and what I would recommend is really building up a relationship with specific practice and hopefully a specific doctor who does perform the surgery and letting them monitor the health and the symptoms that you have over time to see if they're confident that you're a good candidate and they're willing to perform the surgery on you. And why I say that is it's unlikely, and looking back now, I know this, that if you meet with someone one time that they're going to agree to perform a surgery, especially one as invasive as a vitrectomy, and especially one that's as uncommonly performed, they're really going to need to convince themselves and you that you're a good candidate and this is going to be the right approach for you. And that's not going to happen in one conversation. So I was just getting shot down, and I would say, okay, well, I'll just go meet with somebody else. Maybe I'll have luck there. No. Well, maybe it was somebody that would have performed it. Maybe they're very skilled, but they're not going to just agree to it in one visit. And I was just so frustrated and so disheartened over time that I was like, well, that one's out. Let me go to the next one. A few months later, I'd visit another one, get shot down, etc. And I didn't necessarily, and it was pretty unequivocal that they weren't going to do it. So I just was basically like, what's the point in going back to that guy? And maybe had I built up that relationship over time, continuously met with them, continuously say, I cannot live with this. What can you do? Can you help me? Maybe that would have swayed some minds after a year or two to perform it. Maybe not, but that's the approach I'm going to take with my current retinal specialist here in Charlotte. I've got some follow-ups planned. I'm going to meet with them, and hopefully they're going to agree to perform this repeat procedure. But I would suggest doing that initially right off the bat, finding a practice that you know and trust, and really building that relationship with them as opposed to kind of hunting and pecking around trying to find someone who's just going to do it. You're not likely to have success with that. And that really leads me to number 3. I mean, what's the reluctance? Well, the reluctance is that this is an uncommon procedure. It's reserved for severe cases. It's not something that even someone who performs this is going to enter into lightly. So they're going to want to really be confident that you're a good candidate and your profile matches the risk profile. You understand the risks and your symptoms warrant taking those risks. And again, that is not something that they're going to decide lightly. And that is actually not something that most retinal surgeons or ophthalmologists in general are even going to suggest that you do. So while I'm talking about 2 and 3 simultaneously, I mean, part of the approach and fits in with the reluctance. Make sure you find someone who will even entertain this idea. And what I mean by that is there are going to be, and there will continue to be, many retinal specialists and ophthalmologists that will not perform this procedure under any circumstances on you. So while I think it makes sense to build up a relationship and meet with a specific practice, and I'm not saying just go to any of them, but find one that's reputable and it will even entertain this. And so they might rule you out initially and say, hey, you're not a good candidate at this time, let's monitor. Okay, you come back and do that. But there are going to be some that say there's just no way we're going to do this. This is not even something I do. And in that case, you probably want to find another practice, find another doctor if it's something you want to pursue, because there is extreme reluctance among many professionals to do this surgery because it is invasive. Eye floaters do not harm you other than being extremely annoying. And many surgeons do not think that the risk outweighs the benefits, and you are not going to convince them otherwise. So understand that going in. Recognize that a vitrectomy is performed every day by doctors around the country, and it's a very common procedure, but not for eye floaters. And that's the kind of disconnect that I didn't know initially and that I want to project here, in that generally when a vitrectomy is performed, they're removing the vitreous out of your eye. It's so they have access to the back of your eye to fix a very serious problem, like a macular hole, retinal detachment or tear. That's something that is likely to lead to vision loss or severe damage to your eye if they don't get in and do it. So the vitrectomy is a means to an end. They'll do it like that for somebody with those conditions because then the risk profile matches it. You're saying, well, right, the vitrectomy is not something I recommend. It's risky, but not for someone who's going to have vision loss anyway. What's the harm? I need to do this procedure to go fix this major problem. They don't see eye floaters as that major problem. So while they perform a vitrectomy every day around the country, it's done to fix serious major complications. And they don't think twice about undertaking a vitrectomy to do that because the risk profile matches it clearly. Why not do it? The vitrectomy might lead to vision loss, but so will the condition we're trying to treat. Eye floaters are not going to lead to vision loss, so or reluctant to do the vitrectomy. So that's really just, in layman's terms, the simplest way to understand it is that this is not an unsafe, ineffective, experimental procedure, but it's something that's reserved for cases that are generally very serious. Eye floaters aside, for other conditions that are very serious. So understand that. Find a practice that understands that and may be willing to do that for eye floaters, and build up the relationship with them, and go into this year knowing that there is hope for you. It's something I'm going to embark on. I'll document the journey here on YouTube. You guys can follow along with me, and I hope that if you're suffering from them, this is the year that you find a cure. Best of luck, everyone. Stay happy and healthy.